Hi students, today we're going to go over in this video the macromolecules that make up life. And so we've already talked about the importance of carbon and that carbon is really great for life because it's able to form long chains, it's able to make a variety of very unique molecules, and to be unique all we have to do is change the bonding patterns and functional groups and the size of molecules. And so in living things, there are four major classes of macromolecules. Macro just means big, okay? So these are big carbon-based molecules. So there's four major types. All right, so let's start with the first one. The first one is a carbohydrate, okay? All right, so carbohydrates are unique in that they contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So they're made out of only those three atoms, okay? So that's really important. You see here, these are some examples of very simple carbohydrates. And so very simple carbohydrates are called sugars, and they form this ring structure. And so organic chemists are kind of lazy when it comes to drawing carbons. So let me show you this molecule right here. You might be wondering what this hexagon is. So there's a carbon here at each corner. Okay, except for this corner right here. That's an oxygen there. There's a carbon here. Okay, and you can assume that this carbon is still following the honk rules. 1, 2, 3. And what they have not drawn here is the hydrogen. So they assume that you guys are also organic chemists, and you know already that there's hydrogens, and we don't actually have to draw them. So rather than draw out all the sticks, they assume that you know that a corner is going to be a carbon. All right, so that's the first thing. And so the second thing you might notice is that all these very simple sugars, they end in OSE. All right, so if you see anything that ends in OSE, you know it's a type of very simple carbohydrate. And so if it's a carbohydrate that's made out of one of these rings or two, we refer to that as a sugar. All right, so if you've ever given sugar to a kid, you know that they get a lot of energy from that. And so that's the major function of carbohydrates is short-term energy. Okay, so if we're listing functions, it's major energy. All right, so we eat sugars or more complex carbohydrates for energy. Now these small types of carbohydrates, simple sugars like this, they're going to give you really quick energy and you're going to crash very soon after that. And so they're really easy to digest and get energy from, and so you get this quick boost, but then it's over. And so other carbohydrates though, like the ones you see here, they're really, really long chains. Okay, and so plants make starch. Okay, so here's starch. You can see it's a really long chain of all these rings here. And then, so starch is basically how plants store their sugars long term. So usually this goes into roots. And the other thing plants use carbohydrates for is this stuff called cellulose. This is also referred to as fiber. Okay. Fiber is really important to our diet because it helps to kind of clean out your digestive tract. And so fiber makes up the cell wall of plants. So you might remember from grammar school when we talked about plant cells, plants have this specialized wall around it. And this is what they're made out of.